Hello and welcome to the Lou Review. I'm your host, Rosa Hart. I'm here to highlight the people and places that make Louisville such a vibrant community to live, work, and play. Through the Lou Review Foundation, we're proud to give back by offering free spotlighting services to help local businesses and nonprofits share their stories and strengthen our city from the ground up. Today, I'm joined by someone who embodies Louisville's spirit of hospitality, Tim Laird, America's Chief Entertaining Officer. You might know him from Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs or his years of sharing recipes, cocktails, and entertaining inspiration across Kentucky and beyond. Tim has made his life's work to showcase our city's flavors, from our bourbon heritage to the creative chefs shaping the next chapter of Louisville's cuisine. In this episode, we'll talk about what makes our food and drink scene so special and how hospitality builds community, and why Louisville will always have something to celebrate. So, Tim, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you, Rosa. So happy to be with you and share some fun things.
So, we met just recently, but I've been following you throughout the foodie scene. I feel like I've always been like a few steps behind meeting you. And we finally met at the Mallard Hall Estate for a murder mystery night the other day. And it was so much fun. So, what's your favorite kind of event to go to? Like, do you want to be in an event where you're working, or are there any you'd like to just go as an attendee?
You know what? I always love to go to all events, and I really love to work because what my work is fun work. I talk about food and beverages, and so anytime I can do that, it's not work for me at all. So, and I just love sharing things, especially I get a chance to meet with a lot of meeting planners through the Louisville Convention Bureau when they come to town, and I get to share great stories about what our city has to offer from a culinary standpoint, from a heritage standpoint, from our museums, and of course, bourbon country, which I always talk about and play up and say this is not only a great excuse to come visit us and see us here, the bourbon capital of the world, but also enjoy our wonderful cuisines and restaurants, as you know, that we have, and so many great chefs. And it's fun working with the chefs, too. I do a lot of work with them, especially on our show, Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs. And what's amazing to me is just the number of chefs we have that are creative, culturally different. We have a wide array of different foods and styles, and how the chefs will come here, visit Louisville, love the fact that we have a great agricultural product, great farmers. In fact, when I moved to Louisville, gosh, back in 1990, about 26 years ago, they were doing farm to table before it was cool or anybody else was doing this. So it was really neat to discover. And then I talked to the chefs and they all know, well, I know the farmer here. I know who supplies my proteins or my eggs and everything else and vegetables. And so that really was a great relationship that the chefs have. And I think that's why they love Louisville too. And the fact is that we love to dine out. I mean, that's another great thing about Louisville. And one of the things we do in our secret show is try to get people to see other restaurants. I think we all get into that thing of we're going, where do you want to go? Well, you end up going to the same places all the time. But when you see the chef, you see the restaurant, you see some of their food, they're going to say, you know what, I'm going to go try that place. And it's funny, kind of give you a background of how that show started, which is going on 22, 23 years, which is amazing for a local program. And it really is to our producer, which he started at Wave 3 producing the news, and he got so tired of all the negative, all the things around Louisville. He says, I'm going to set out and do something all local, all positive, all the time. And if you think back 22 years ago, this predates Food Network stuff and a lot of those things. He goes, it's food and our chefs, and the chefs can tell a story. So that's how we started doing that. And the premise, which is kind of funny, Rosa, is the premise is we're going to show you the secrets of what that chef is known for. Let's say if they know their pork chops. So they're going to show you the secrets how that chef makes it at the restaurant so you can make it at home. But the true secret is people don't want to make it at home, they want to go to the restaurant. So it does get them into that out of that restaurant bitch. We're going to the same places,
It's so true.
which is a
And
lot of fun.
it is a lot of fun, and I love that, and that's kinda why I'm doing this as well, is to put out more positivity in the world. Like you said, we can never get enough of that because people often watch the news and it's inundating you with negativity, so I'm really glad that you've been so much a leader in that space. You've spent years spotlighting these local chefs and distillers, and then you worked with Brown Foreman for a while. Um, so before you moved to Louisville, were you also working in the food scene then?
I was kind of I really started in the beverage business. Back when I was in college, the predominant drinking age was 18. So at that time, breweries would hire college reps to promote their brands on campus, knowing that, the predominant age is 18. So I was hired by Anheuser-Busch to be the bud person on campus. And that was a fun job to do while I'm going to college. And from there, I got into the beer business with a brand called, it's long gone by now, but it was called Stroh's Beer, based out of Detroit, Michigan. And I worked in Chicago with them, which at that time, they were the second largest selling beer, which was fun. And then when the brewery was being sold, I went into the wine business with a company called Gallo, which was a big winery. And then that brought me to Brown Forman in Chicago, which eventually would bring me here to the world headquarters. So I was able to moved to Louisville. And the first thing I thought, I goes, oh my gosh, I'm leaving Chicago, this great restaurant scene, and I'm going where? Louisville, Kentucky? And then I find out, wow, what a great scene we have for food and the people and just everything about it, the city and how easy it is to get around. And my wife and I fell in love with Louisville immediately and said, you know what, this is great. And even now that I'm retired, I was with 25 years with Brown Foreman. We said, we're not leaving. We love it here. We love the people, the restaurants, everything about it, the culture. So we love Louisville, and Brown Foreman is a big part of it. And I really got to thank Brown Foreman not only for bringing me here, but also about learning of different brands and everything else. And it was actually there that we created the role of chief entertaining officer. So, which there's a little story about that I could tell you, Rosa, if you'd like. Um, it was fun. So I was working on brand marketing for a brand called Corbel California Champagne and Brandy. And so I was doing some media spots, and all of a sudden the head of public relations says, hey, would you like to do the public relations as a full-time job and leave marketing? I thought, oh, really? This could be fun. Well, let's talk about that. And he says, well, I'd like to create a position called the chief entertaining officer, which was a CEO. And then I said, well, that'd be great. I said, but the first thing we need to do is talk to our current CEO, which at that time was Paul Varga. And because we'd have to say, hey, Paul, what do you think about having two CEOs at Brown Forman? And I thought, oh, this is going to be a hurdle. I mean, I'm going. So we got it. We made an appointment, went to the office, and we said, Paul, what do you think about two CEOs at Brown Forman? He looks back and goes,
What's his
well,
face?
tell me about this. I said, well, you're the real CEO that runs the company, keeps our shareholders happy, and does everything with the family. I would be the chief entertaining officer that would show people how to engage with our brands around entertaining occasions. And he looked back, and he was in brand marketing before, and he understood public relations, and he goes, brilliant, go do it. So we started that. And the whole idea was we wanted to take entertaining occasions and putting it in a beverage with that makes sense. Also promote alcohol-free beverages, because I say when you entertain, I always have a signature cocktail, but make sure you always have an alcohol-free version as well. So we always talk about responsibility. And what was fun about that is, I was learning that people were really intimidated about entertaining. It was like they would get scared. They go, oh my gosh, we love coming over to your house. You're having fun. It looks like you're having fun. Everything was so great. I wish I could do it." And I would say, "Yes, you can." So we really started on a mission of easy entertaining and helping people get away from that intimidation. Because I always say, you know what? It's not the food they remember, it's the people that you have, the conversations you have, the food and the beverages are there just to create that, awareness and get people around and talking and things like that. So, that was our first book we wrote on. It was called That's Entertaining, with America's CEO, and each chapter was an entertaining occasion. So, whether it's a derby party or game night at home or big game or Valentine's, whatever it is, there's a reason to have fun and entertain. And I always say, the easiest thing to do is um, make a list ahead of time, because everybody's like, "Oh, the holidays are coming around. What do I do? How do I do this?" Like, simple. First of all, get your guest list together. That's the easiest thing. Who do I want to have this time? I said, secondly, make a timeline and a checklist. That is so important, because then you feel good about doing so much ahead of time and then checking that off the list. People love that, Rosalind, because then you feel, "I've accomplished something." Okay. And even shopping for ingredients, what you need ahead of time, what you can do, make, put in the refrigerator, and then bring it out at the last minute. And so that timeline and checklist really keeps you organized and going. And the other thing is, I always said, have a signature cocktail available and an alcohol-free version, because that way you can make something ahead of time and you don't have to be a bartender and worry about that. Like the event we saw we had a couple of signature cocktails there and an alcohol-free version, and it just makes it fun. So you can enjoy the party as much as your guests. And there was one other thing. Now that I'm talking, you get me excited because I love to entertain and talk about it, Rosa.
Yeah,
So,
that's why
here's
we're
another
here.
thing. Guests want to get involved, and when at first they would say, "Hey Tim, what can I bring?" I said, "No, just bring yourselves. Come on over. Don't worry about it." Then I thought, no, people want to get involved. So I said, "You know what? You make a great dip. You do this. You make a great appetizer." So I started assigning different things to different guests, and they love it because they can bring it. "Look, I brought this. I'm part of the party now." And in fact, one time, Lori and I, we signed everything out, and the only thing I had was the signature cocktail, and they didn't realize that everybody else brought everything. So, but they do. Guests like to get involved, and they feel more a part of the party. And then the real key is at the end. Lori started this, my wife. A journal, and what you write down is, who were the guests that were there, what did you serve, what occasion was it? And then what did you go through as far as beverages and food? That way, the next time you entertain, maybe you want a different group coming over, or you don't want to serve the same thing you did last time. And then once you have that journal, it really helps you go back and plan for the next event. So I think that's a key part of entertaining.
Well, then you can kind of keep track of what was really popular, what do we need to make a double batch of versus what did nobody touch. So maybe we don't need to do that again, or just plan on that being decorative, like, I don't know, veggie trays. Uh, does that happen to you guys where your veggie trays don't get eaten?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it does. I mean, what do you think, Lori? Yeah, I guess.
It's always the last to be eaten. We always think everyone wants to be healthy, but it's really everyone wants the good food, not the healthy food.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then, and of course, then, today too, we've got to be cautious about food allergies and everything else. So we try to put out something for everyone, that we know. And here's another thing. I like self-service stations. So we set everything out, and your guests can go to the different stations and serve themselves, or even build something. Like we had a grilled cheese. In fact, we're doing an event for food and dining. We write for them as well, and we talk about easy entertaining tips. And I say, like, let's say you have a grilled cheese bar where you have all the ingredients. You can put in whatever you want and make your own kind of off the side, or build your own Bloody Mary bar. That's kind of a fun thing to do. Or build your own chili bar where you have, a vegetarian chili, and then you can add onions, cheeses, meats if you want to, other beans, and so it's like you can make it the way they want it, and you know what? Everybody's happy that way too. So that's kind of another tip we do is self-serve stations, and it makes it easy for you too as a hostess or host.
Idea of starting with like a vegetarian chili that you can add meat to. I have not seen that done at any like chili bar I've seen. And now we're coming up on the Christmas season, so hot chocolate bars are really popular too, as well. Um, so then, can you share a few of your favorite local Louisville experiences, whether it's a neighborhood restaurant spot or a festival or another hidden culinary treasure? Like everybody knows about your lilies from Churchill Downs and the Derby. Um, what would you say is another treasure like that that maybe people don't know about if they're not from Louisville?
You know what? And when people come to Louisville, I first say, listen, what kind of food do you like? And then I steer them in kind of that direction. And I like to steer them in places that where it's a casual environment, and you know the chefs are there, and that's the other thing that we have is we have so many great chefs with good personalities that love to make sure everything is great. And so I always send them to a place where I know the chef, and we'll say, "Hey, go say hello to the chef," and he'll love it, you know. And so I always take him to kind of unique places that maybe they don't have other places around the country, and we certainly can offer that with so many different places and so many great chefs. So I love to steer them into something different, even the neighborhood places, which is great. You know, say let's go down because every neighbor. That's one thing about it here is neighborhoods have their own little restaurants and getaways and everything else, and so it's fun. That's what I really like about a culinary scene, just how fun it is and how the chefs get involved. I mean, and you know that's the other thing I want to say about we do a lot of charity events, but our chefs in town, you know, if you think of all of them that get involved with different charity events and help out, you know, Josh Moore at Valari, he's incredible. You know, Chris Williams at Four Pegs, he loves doing those things. Michael Crouch at Watch Hill Proper. I mean, these chefs, they have enough to do, but you know what? They go out and support all these different charitable events with their food. So, and I love those food events too that we have. The charitable food events makes you feel good, and you get a lot of good food and beverages. So those are the fun events I love too, like Taste of Louisville, which is a great event, or some of these. And then there's some events that's Serve Apron, which is an organization that helps the servers, which don't they you know it's and I love their tagline, serving those who serve you, and so it's really taking care of those people too. So I think those kind of events are fun to attend, and it goes to a good cause as well. So you get good food, good beverages, and you're contributing to a good cause. So I love that, and
And
it's fun
that
things. Of
really
course,
gives
y-
that really gives those chefs a chance to get their stuff out there, especially for the lesser known chefs who maybe didn't win an award on Chopped or something like Dallas McGarity, but they may have something really unique to offer, like the different chefs at what is that bowling alley that has really good
oh,
food? I have to
y-
get over there.
Burning lights.
Vernon Lanes.
Vernon Lanes, yes. So they have some outstanding food, and I know because they've always had like a booth at any of these tasting events. So I wouldn't know that because I haven't been there, but I can recommend that people go there if they want bowling with really next level food because they've made it apparent in environments like that. So it is a really great advertising opportunity for them to share as well.
It really is. And you know, one of the things I was worried about moving from Chicago, not only what culinary scene, but are we going to get a bunch of diverse restaurants that's serving different things? And now if you think about it, we have a lot of Creole restaurants, you know, from Louisiana types things. Of course, we've got Korean restaurants now that are opening up, Vietnamese restaurants. So we really do have a lot of cultural restaurants where the chefs have those experiences and they're bringing them to Louisville, and then some of them kind of match up what their background was, and kind of makes it Louisville too. So it's kind of a little mixed match of everything. So I think that's what's cool about our city too, is all the different diverse restaurants you can go to, no matter what type of food you want. We can find some that's pretty authentic. And even for Thai food, we have a lot of Thai restaurants now, like Simply Thai and All Tied Up, and some of these places that really are wonderful. So I think it's a whole array of foods that we have to offer too, besides our bounty that we can have here in Louisville. And I really love that. And of course, one of our big drawing cards now is Churchill Downs, which you mentioned the Oaks Lily.
Yes,
I
tell
have to
us
say
about
something
that,
about that really quick because
please.
one of the it was about 20, I think it's going on the 20th anniversary of it coming up, but so Churchill came to us. They knew that we did a lot of cocktail development. I do cocktails for charity events and create signature cocktails for people or special occasions. And so they said, would you, the Derby has the mint julep that they've always had there as their signature drink. We have this race on Friday called the Oaks, which is the fillies for the lilies, and we don't have a signature cocktail. I thought, whoa, this will be fun. So back then, I think it was 2006, the big drink that was out at the time was the Cosmopolitan. Because
Yes.
of Sex and the City TV
Uh-huh.
show, everybody
City.
was drinking Cosmos. That was so I was thinking, if I could make something that's light, refreshing, and use the Cosmo as kind of a base, that was the secret. That's actually the secret that I don't tell a lot of people, but I'll tell you, Rosa, that's really where that drink came
Uh-oh.
from. But I wanted to,
Do I need to
but
edit that out? Is it
and
a
the
secret?
Cosmopolitan is very vodka forward, so it's because it's a martini. But I'm going, wow, what if I take down the alcohol content, make it more refreshing, add a little bit more cranberry juice to it, and then get that color with the cranberry juice that looks and emulates the Stargazer lily. That's where that pink comes from. I thought this would be a winner, and we'll call it the Oaks Lily. And Churchill loved it. We did a whole taste test thing, so I knew that was going to be the winner. Everybody loved it, and it was easy to make for them. And all of a sudden, it became the Oaks Lily. Now, I have to say that we don't get anything, no residuals from it, but just the pat on the back that we created it. So because Churchill Downs trademarked it and it's theirs now, but it's okay. We created it for them, and I'm happy for them because people when people go, oh, I had that Oaks Lily, they go, so, great, it was good, it was delicious. And in fact, there's one more quick story about that. It was Levy, who does the catering there, is from Chicago, their headquarters, and I knew the head of food and beverage from Levy Corporation. And when we came out with the Oaks Lily, his name was Bob King, and I said, Bob, we got to serve this at least 6 bars, just as a kickoff. He goes, no, we're going to have it at 1 bar. I go, we're going to do a public relations event. We're rolling out a brand new cocktail for the Oaks race. You got to put it in 1 more bar than just 1. He goes, nope, we'll see how it goes, and then we'll go from there. So my wife and I were walking around the corner. I wanted to see where the bar was and how it was doing. We rounded the corner, and I saw a line. It was almost 3 blocks long of people waiting in line. And then Bob King walks by. He looks at me and goes, I know, Tim. I know. Next year, we'll make sure we're ready for it. So it was kind of fun to see that it was a hit right off the bat, and happy for them and everything else. So that's the inside story of the Oaks Lily that's coming up on the 20th anniversary.
It's really exciting. I mean, and even if you're not getting, I don't know what residuals, you have the residual joy of making that so much that has made it so much more entertaining for women, I would think, because there are so many women who do not want a mint julep and felt like derby events were not for them or it's not for them. And so for you to make that event more enjoyable for women, I mean, that was a huge gift to the community. So I really appreciate you doing that. And that was smart to use something that their palates were already primed to enjoy. So good for you. Let's see. Um, Now when it comes to our community, What role do you think these celebrations, like the Derby or like Thunder over Louisville and the whole months long celebration that we have leading up to that, what role do you think that plays in keeping our community connected and proud of where we live?
Yeah, I think what's great, first of all, what's great about what's going on too with the bourbon movement is when I used to we travel the country, and we still kind of do, talking about entertaining. Um, and when we travel, when I first moved here, first became the CEO role, I talked to different people in New York or wherever, and they go, "Oh, Louisville, Kentucky. Oh yeah, you have that horse race there." Now when I travel and they say, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm based out of Louisville, Kentucky." And they go, "Oh, Louisville." I I went there. I had so much fun. Didn't know what the expectations were. People were friendly, and the culture, the food thing. I think, see, that's what's great about too is we're not just known for the Kentucky Derby now. We're getting known for our culture, our friendliness, and of course the Bourbon Trail that is bringing people in from all over the world and still does. It's like that's such a gem that we have, that when people come in to visit, they leave knowing they had a great time, and then they come back. And when I talk about the convention bureau, and then you have those other events, especially like Thunder. And it's just amazing the people that come in, and it's great for hotels when they pack, and of course the restaurant scene and everything else. Those things are great for us. And I think the other thing is what's attracting more chefs coming in and into the areas, all these wonderful hotels we're getting, and these boutique hotels. I think that
So
is
great.
so neat. And there's going to be more built, and they're looking at that. And now we can bring in larger conventions because of that amenity. And then they can go visit the Bourbon Trail downtown. Now we have all those bourbon experiences they can go to, or with Mid Julep Tours and some other ones, they can jump in and go out a little bit further and see other great distilleries that we have, and kind of the countryside of Louisville. And they really, people after they've been here, really walk away with a great sense of a phenomenal time, and then they tell others. So I think we're going to see some more boom coming to our city from other people, which I really think is vital to our growth and everything else. And it's thanks to our culinary scene and our great festivities and festivals, and that's the other thing. It seems every weekend in the summer we have another festival, which is great. I love festivals. It's always a little fun. All the parades we have now, and
Right.
that's
So
getting
many.
noticed. So it's just fun.
Yeah, and New Orleans has its carnival themed for Mardi Gras, and everybody's like, let's celebrate Mardi Gras, even if we're not in New Orleans. And I have been out of town for Derby the last couple of years. I went to Delaware a couple of years ago, and I want you to know in Wilmington, Delaware, they were celebrating the Derby. I was not expecting that when I got there. And then this year, I was speaking at a conference in Biloxi, Mississippi, and they had a whole like set of trivia questions throughout the session where they came out wearing derby hats and they were asking derby trivia questions. So I mean, I can't get away from it now and I don't want to, but it did make me kind of sad because then I was like, well, now I want to go home and eat because the food is still better in Louisville. So I think you're right that the
And you're right,
festivities
Rose. I think
engage.
the phenomenon we're seeing is because we would travel, especially around Derby season, we would come back just before the Oaks race to be here, but we would travel around the country talking about hosting a Derby party at home. And
Mhm.
people really like, that's another entertaining occasion. People are wrapping themselves around, and we say, you know what? You can make an easy mint julep. You can do the Oaks lily. You can have a hat party where you come in and have your own, you know, contest at home, because everything goes, every kind of hat, every kind of whatever it goes. So you can have a crazy hat party contest. Even I even had one party event where they rolled out a red carpet and they took pictures of the guests as they come in and treated them like it was the red carpet. And then, of course, you can pick all the horses out of a hat and do some gaming. That's fun too. So that gets everybody into the race and want to watch it and do some little competing things. So it really is a fun occasion now that people are really uh, wrapping themselves around, and it's funny. So I see that happening a lot of places now, even more so that people are catching on to how great and fun it is as an event.
Well, and it sounds like your own personal enthusiasm had a lot to do with that. I mean, you started doing like tour the country. How long ago? You said 20 years ago?
Yeah, about 20, yeah, it's a little bit more than 20 years plus. Yeah,
Well, and it
and
stuck.
yeah, it really did, and it was fun because, um, and each occasion has its own. Let's say we know Derby would be, a mint julep is the lead probably there, and we talk about easy mint juleps, and I always talk about rather than doing all the muddling and everything, you can make a mint simple syrup or actually, you can buy it now everywhere, that mint simple syrup. I just to say, add 2 ounces of bourbon and an ounce of the mint simple syrup, get a big garnish of mint on there and a sipping straw, and you're done. And you can make a batch of those. And then I say for the alcohol-free version, substitute iced tea for the bourbon, and now you have
Really?
a glass that looks the same as a mint julep, and you don't feel like, oh, I'm not part of the party. No, you have this big mint garnish, and you have this kind of sweet mint iced tea, which is delicious too. So,
Yeah.
which makes it fun for all. So, that's part of it as well. But anyway, but it's all about having
I'm
fun, and
gonna
when
have to
we
try.
travel around, it was really exciting.
I'm gonna have to try the tea version because, my daughter always wants a mocktail to go with if I'm having a cocktail. So anytime we can match, she is all about that. So I'm really appreciative that you allowed for that all along the way, especially now, Gen Z is really going away from alcohol, probably for health reasons. And so to have these already established alternatives, I think is really important so that we can still celebrate together. Um, you mentioned the boutique hotels and things like that that are springing up now. When you look at the future for Louisville and our hospitality, what excites you most about where our city's food and drink and hospitality scene is headed?
I think, the excitement that I see is even in a downtown area like Nulu, which is now, exploding and all the different restaurants that we bring down into the Nulu area, you kind of feel you can feel the excitement when you go down there. And now they're rebuilding excitement too in the downtown area with places like Steak and Bourbon coming in down there, which is now Henry Wesley, which is a wonderful chef that was with Lemieux and some other great ones. So Steak and Bourbon is coming down there. The Bourbon Hotel, which is really neat. That's where Henry Wesley is. And, so they're getting a lot of great new themed restaurants downtown, and that's creating a lot of traffic. So I think people are now getting out more and visiting these places and creating their own excitement with that. And I think that's a big part of what's happening down there. And even when we were touring a couple of the new hotels, people now are still doing staycations here. They said that when Bourbon opened up, I was talking to the general manager. He goes, we were getting a lot more local people than people out of town because they said, we've got this pool bar, we have this area here, great restaurants, book a night and stay over and, leave your car here and have fun and enjoy, and then just walk around too. So I think that's kind of neat that these boutique hotels and some of these other ones are offering something unique and different that are exciting for people.
Yeah, and to your point about it's bringing more traffic downtown. We lost a lot of businesses downtown over the pandemic and afterwards, and so I'm glad to see that infusion back. I know you said you usually recommend more casual places for people who are coming in from out of town, but we do have a lot of business people coming to Louisville with like conferences and important meetings, and they're looking for more upscale places to go for lunch. And so I was actually asked to come up with, where are some of the nicest places to go for lunch downtown. And Repeal was probably, well, Repeal is where we went, and it was phenomenal. Very proud of it. But there were not a lot of other upscale options open for lunch. So, do you think there are any more that will be doing that soon?
Yeah, I think because I think we're going to see is a revitalization too of lunch and brunch, and but if you look at even some of the other hotels that have kind of figured it out that I can not use just my regular hotel restaurant, but let's say like Sway, that's down. I think is it the Marriott that's or the Porch. Yeah. Yeah, but so a lot of those hotels are now realizing we better step up our culinary game and open for lunch too, and track that crowd that's there. And I think it's helped them elevate the game and still keep it kind of an independent restaurant. That it's not a chain, so to speak. And I think that's a big part of it. And so I think we're going to see more, and I agree with you too, Rosa, is that we need more of those fun lunch brunch type places too. I think that's something I want to see, the people enjoy because I
Yes,
always
we
used to
do
love a good
have.
brunch too, and I think that so that
I
was
did
always a
too.
fun occasion for me that we'd go out and have fun.
And our friend Chef David Danielson has a new exciting brunch place for us, the Hen House, right?
I'm excited. Of course, it was great that I got to meet you at one of Dave's events that he catered, and I kind of knew. I never knew. Dave came from Chicago, and he ran the Palmer House Hotel. He's cooked all over the world, and I knew he was at several restaurants. Actually, one of the most famous restaurants too. It was a Michelin star restaurant, Charlie Trotter's. He was a chef for Charlie Trotter's in Chicago, which is a well-known. It used to be um, when Charlie was with us, but so he's cooked all over the world. And then what brought him here was, of course, Churchill Downs, and so he was the executive chef for 12 years there. And then he opened the restaurant now that is happening with a lot of construction. So he says, I got to redo this thing. They're going to have this big construct. Why not do breakfast and lunch and brunch? Because that's when there's a lot of people out and they want something unique and different and a little more upscale than some of the chain places that are there. And his biggest night was his fried chicken night. So he
Yeah.
goes, "Oh my gosh, people are loving this thing, and they like more of a casual atmosphere with great food." And so he's really taken that concept, and now with the hen house, and it's going to be something fun because it's got plenty of places to park. Going to be really unique food and in a comfortable, casual environment. Because I know that one of the other things too is in the food scene, culinary scene, the day old of that really high end specialty restaurants. You still need those, but for the most part, people want great food, but in a more casual atmosphere, so to speak. And I think he's going to speak to that very well, and it's exciting to have something like that that he can offer. And he's, as you know, he's such a personable chef too. He's fun to talk to, and we actually wrote a book with him. So he wanted to come out with a cookbook. He kept going, Tim, now you wrote 2 books. I want to do that. Can you tell me what to do? And I said, well, Dave, I'm really, you know what? I wasn't going to write any more books, but with you, let's do it. And we got together as a collaboration and came up with the Bourbon Country Cookbook, which I love, and it's always fun, and it really talks about the culinary scene here and how we weave bourbon into that and how it came about. But the hardest thing for Dave was when we're doing this. I said Dave was cooking for thousands of people at Churchill Downs. I go, Dave, no, this is for 4 to 6 people at home, or maybe 2. So let's take your recipe that you did on Millionaire's Row, but let's downsize it and how it would be an individual agreement, for 2 to 4 people. So that was the hardest thing for Dave to get over his big, uh, catering mind and attention, and he really enjoyed it, and that's what he likes about the restaurant now. He goes, I don't have to cook for thousands. I can cook for just, a few people that come into my restaurant and get back to cooking. Because I think a lot of chefs miss that part when they go into like those operations. They go, I'm really just managing people and this and that, and I'm not using my creative skills, to do that. So I think it's exciting for him, and he's excited to do that too. So, and be really creative at it, and it's fun.
Yeah, it's so beautiful to get to see people doing what they love and hear them talking about what they love. Like, as you've shared your story here, I mean, that's what it's all about. People buy from people, and this connection that we feel with other people is so integral to our own health. And so I feel like that makes Louisville a really healthy city to have all this connection. So, well, it has been a treat to have you on the Lou Review podcast. So, Tim Laird, if anybody wants to reach out to you for a speaking opportunity or to have you customize a drink menu for them or design a signature cocktail, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Absolutely. Reach out to Lori Laird, who handles all my. She's my true boss. I do have a boss, and his name's Lori Laird, and you can get a hold of her. Just email her at LORI at Davidson, DAVIDSON Laird, Lori at Davidson-Laird.com. She'll line it up, whatever you want. We love to make cocktails, speaking engagements, because as you can tell, I love talking about bourbon and our great city and what we're all about and embracing it.
Or Facebook and Instagram.
Or
at Tim Laird Cheers.
Or Facebook or Instagram at Tim Laird Cheers.
And I will definitely list all those ways to contact in the show notes as well, so people can find you. And for our listeners, if you've enjoyed this conversation, definitely follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. If you are listening on Apple Podcast, Audible, or if you're watching the video on YouTube, and follow me on social media at Rosa Raves, where I'll be showcasing pictures and videos from where I explore locally here in Louisville, as well as when I get out of town. And see if you find out any derby experience I have outside of Louisville, because that might happen too. So you can learn more about how we are supporting local businesses and nonprofits through Review Foundation at loureview.com. And until next time, keep exploring, keep celebrating, and keep finding new reasons to love where you live. And I'll see you in the next episode.